Welcome to the Waterboy and Equipment Manager podcast. My name is Saif Basaria.
I'm Case Charania.
My name is son of a bitch. My name is Shawan Samani.
I love how he started to introduce himself and then stopped.
He's like, wait, why am I going third?
Shaban's like, I'm usually ready for the smoke. Shit.
Well, for those of you that may have missed it.
And for those of you who don't recognize that voice, because he's not here a lot, we've got Nabil joining us today.
Nabil, welcome to the show, because apparently you're a guest now.
Jesus. I feel great, guys.
Look, first off, our socials at WBEM Pod, WBEM Pod, everywhere. On YouTube, it's the Waterboy and Equipment Manager podcast. On YouTube, everywhere else, WBEM, WBEM Pod. But yeah, it's been a week. We've got a week of basketball under our belts, and the only right thing to do after a week of basketball is to completely and utterly overreact to everything we have seen and heard at this point in time. Every single team in the league has played somewhere between 3 and 4 games. A couple of teams like the Rockets and the Thunder, who missed their first game due to COVID issues, only played 2 games thus far, I believe. But outside of that, everyone is at 3 or 4. A bunch of games going on tonight as we speak. Nothing absurdly crazy. If you hear any one of us zone out for a second, it's because we're keeping an eye on a couple of these games. But to start off, before we get to our overreactions, I want to actually ask each and every one of you, real or fake? So,
okay.
The Cleveland Cavaliers at 3-1. Shaban, real or fake?
They are at 3-1.
Yeah.
No, like, are they a real team?
Are they a real?
Or are they a real team?
I honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you.
No, I think they're not a real team.
Okay.
They had a great start. Credit to Andre Drummond.
When I decided to do this segment on the fly and not tell you guys about it, I didn't know I'd actually have to explain the segment to you more explicitly. So, listener, my apologies for being confusing.
And this is why you need to get approval.
Right, so okay, when I say
for
real
real, Safe was just like.
When I say
Steve was just
fake,
like, yo, I got a new segment for y'all. Don't ask any questions. I got it.
Well, hey, it was worth a try simply because I was like, hey, it'd be more fun to get these guys' reactions on the pod. And by the way, I stand by it. It was fun. However, I need to explain the segment better.
For the wrong reasons, bro.
When I ask real or fake, I'm asking, is this team's start indicative of who they actually are as a basketball team and will be going forward? Or are they fraudulent in their record or in what you've seen so far? Is that clear to the listener and everyone else?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, okay. I knew what you were talking
about.
Yeah,
I knew what you were discussing.
Hey, you know what? Clearly the one that I asked first did not. All right, I will try this again. Shaban, Cavs, 3-1 start, real or fake?
No, they are fake. They are.
You should have just said contender or pretender.
Yeah, I know, right? I would just that would have been so much easier. But yeah, they're a pretender. Like, credit to Cleveland for the start that they had so far, but they're not going anywhere.
No,
with
I didn't do contender. I did not do contender or pretender because even if the Cavs were this good, we would not call them a contender. It's real or fake indicative on their start for what they look like for the rest of the year. That's all, right? So in the same sense, K's Washington Wizards 0-4 start, real or fake?
Fake.
So you think they will pick this up?
Fuck yeah.
Why?
Russell Westbrook has a triple-double in every game he's played.
And
Bradley Beal is averaging an absurd amount of points. They will turn this around.
I hope you're right, but I'm not saying
you don't have to hope. I am right.
All right.
I think Case is right.
All right. Nabil, New York Knicks 2-2. Real or fake?
Fake.
Real.
They suck. They're about to get worse than this. What do you mean?
All right, let's
and they never won a game this season.
I hate how you said 2-2 and we're like real and fake.
Shaban.
Yeah.
The Orlando Magic 4-0. Real or fake?
Fake. I don't think this is gonna keep going. I think there's only so much of that Orlando can do right now, just because the rest of the East is just so stacked. I'm gonna say fake. I think they're gonna just decline over the course of the season.
Okay, right, Nabil, you ready for the most confusing one thus far in the Eastern Conference?
Let's do it, bro.
The Toronto Raptors 0-3. Real or fake?
Fake. They'll pick it back up. It just seems like rust. I'm not worried about them. They'll be fine.
And K's last of the East, the Miami Heat 1-2. Real or fake?
We all know that's fake. This is a pro Heat podcast.
Shaban, back to you. Ready? Houston Rockets 0-2 start. Real or fake?
I'm gonna say fake. I think John Wall but DeMarcus Cousins haven't played yet. Neither has a few of their role players. So since they're on like 7-day quarantine, so they'll pick it up for sure once those guys get back into it.
K's Denver Nuggets, Jokic, Jamal Murray 1-3. Real or fake?
I want to say fake, but I'm going to say real.
You're going to say real. Can you tell me why you're saying real instead of what your heart says otherwise?
Every great team has a drop-off year, and they'll come back. This might be that drop-off year.
Interesting.
They just look dead off the bench.
That's probably fair. Nabil, Sacramento Kings are 3-1. They're the third team in the Western Conference. They're tied for the best record. Is this real or is this fake?
Can I point out that I hate the Kings? Like, why are you so inconsistent?
Whoa.
I think
so aggressive.
Can I say real?
You not see this Sacramento purple right here?
Bro, don't stroke your mic like that. That's just weird. You literally just fingered it all the way down, bro. You caressed that shit.
So Nabil, real or fake Sacramento Kings?
Can I say real-ish?
What does that mean? What does real-ish mean?
As in, yeah, they look really good right now, and I think they can continue it because we've seen what this team can do when they're healthy, but we've also seen what they can do when they suck. So I think for now they're a good basketball team. I think it's real. Not third seed in the West real, but real.
Shaban, let's talk about the Golden State Warriors and Stephen Curry. They are 2-2 after an 0-2 start. Is this real or is this fake?
I'm gonna say real. Kelly Oubre. I think they're still gonna pick it up, but I think like overall they're gonna be like a middling team at best. If they might sneak into the playoffs, or they'll probably be more than likely they'll be fighting for a play-in spot. So yeah, I think this is real.
Okay, and Kay's last one before we move on. The Dallas Mavericks are 1-2. I came to you for a very specific reason here because the other two are Mavs. What's the word I'm looking for? They love the Mavs, and that's the nice way of me saying that because I could have said a lot really. I could have gone much worse in that regard. So Dallas Mavs 1-2 so far. K's real or fake?
Real.
What does that mean?
They should be 0-3.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what 51-point loss means. We're 0-3, bro. I mean 51-point win. Sorry, my bad.
See, that's why I asked K's because I wanted to piss you guys off, and now you guys are on one for the rest of the pod, and that's an exciting podcast. If you ask me, we got a good episode ahead of us, listeners.
I know, K's. I'm fine.
We got a good episode ahead of us, listener. You stick around because the overreactions are coming. But before that, K's Players Anonymous, bring it to us.
All right, so the nicknames I've got for y'all this week: Noodles, Inspector Go-Go Gadget, String Bean, and Praying Mantis. Drafted 10th overall by the 76ers in 2018. Do y'all want stats?
Sure. Yeah, why not?
You've got 9 points a game, 3.5 rebounds, 2 assists.
Matisse Thybulle?
Nah.
None. He was 19. He was just last year.
He's called the Baguette.
Yeah, they did the Baguette. That's a terrible nickname.
The fuck?
Yeah. That's a terrible nickname. They took Zaire Smith the year before. No, they didn't. They took Bridges and they traded Bridges. Which one is it? Is it Mikal?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the one?
Yeah, it is.
Let's go.
Good
Why
guess.
is it Noodles? Why is
Noodles? Jesus, that's so weird.
Honestly, the Praying Mantis one is the one that threw me off.
I guess Prey Mantis makes some sense. He's a good defender, right? I guess.
Yeah.
But Noodles makes no sense to me.
Yeah. When you said praying mantis, I was thinking Tayshaun Prince up until you said
Really?
2018.
So Praying Mantis, for I don't know what reason, but Brandon Ingram came to mind immediately when he said Praying Mantis, and I was like,
Oh,
this
yeah.
can't. Yeah, but I was like, this
Because they
can't
got
be the guy.
long, skinny arms. And
Maybe
then you said
that's what it is.
76ers, and that ruined everything.
But yeah, okay, we're gonna throw it to break really quickly, listener, and then when we come back, we're gonna give our overreactions after 1 week of the NBA. Give us a sec. And we're back. So the NBA, like I said earlier in the podcast, we've had a week of basketball. We've had some really awesome games. But honestly, a notion that has come up time and time again is there's been a lot of blowouts. There's been a lot of 15, 20, 30, 51-point wins. And for that reason, it's been a bit sloppy night in and night out. And that's kind of understood, right? With a lack of training camp, a lack of preseason. A lot of these guys showed up after the first week of December, and then the season started not that long after. So we knew, and we've talked about on this podcast week in and week out, that the first month or so of basketball was going to be like a mini preseason, but a little bit more intense and a little more fun. And some of that's been proven. Like I said, we've had nights where Jamal Murray has, for example, only had 9 points. That's obviously not who the Jamal Murray we've come to know at this point. Terry Rozier had 42 points. And as much as he's probably good and can take a step forward in his career, he's likely not going to average 42 points per game at any point in his career. And that's probably fair, I think. So we've seen a lot of insane and crazy stat lines. But I want to know, what have we taken away from those, but in the most overreactive possible way? So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do overreactions to the NBA. And Shaban, I want to start with you. We all came together. We haven't discussed any of this. We've only kind of put it out there on the doc so that we're not saying the same thing multiple times. That's all, you listener. That's for you, obviously. But yeah, I mean, we want to talk about it. So Shaban, what's your first overreaction? Talk to me.
My first overreaction has to do with our boy Joel Embiid, and seeing from the way that he has played and the way that the team has played with and without him on the floor, I sincerely believe that Joel Embiid will be top 3 in MVP voting this year.
Wow. Okay, so before I guess you sit and defend it, this is okay. He's an incredible basketball player. I think everyone would agree with that statement. When he's on the floor, he's incredible. Top 3 is the overreaction that I like to hear. If you had said top 5 or 10, I would have been like, that's not even that big. Top 3.
That's not overreaction enough.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. But no, top 3 is a legit, okay. So talk to us why. What have you seen from Joel Embiid that says top 3?
So it was really the game against Toronto. Toronto is a perennial Eastern Conference contender, and the way Joel Embiid showed up that game, he had 29 points, 16 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, 2 steals. He was all over the court that night, and whenever he was off the floor, Philadelphia kind of looked like kind of lost out there without him. Like they couldn't really get he's the surest bucket that they've got on the floor whenever he's in the game. And the one game he took off was against Cleveland, and they lost by 24. And yeah, we've talked about Cleveland earlier and about how they suck and they're not gonna make it anywhere in life. But
ouch, we did not say that.
Jesus.
well, I'm saying it, and you can quote me on it. But they lost to 20. But they lost by 24, and they came, and then Joel Embiid came back against Toronto, which is admittedly a much better team than Cleveland, and they won by 7.
How are they better? They're winless.
The Tampa Bay Raptors are not very good this year thus far. Look, I will say that Joel Embiid has been an absolute monster. However, doing it against the Raptors, who have the likes of Aaron Baines, Chris Bouchard, and Alex Len, is impressive, but not as impressive as if he had done it against someone more higher tier, right? Like Aaron Baines has a fan club, and a really awesome one, especially on Twitter. But like he's a good defender, but Joel Embiid is an elite basketball player. what would Joel Embiid, in your opinion, have to do for the remainder of the season, statistically and maybe team success wise, that would vault him into and stay in the top 3? That's what I'm interested in hearing.
Really stay in shape. Really come full of energy because, he can be like if he can be like an offensive like juggernaut, but at the end of the day, there's also another center who's probably just as good, if not better, than him offensively. Maybe you've heard of him. His name is Nikola Jokic. Joel Embiid's really gonna have to step it up and make it up on like the defensive end. I've always like compared Joel Embiid to like Hakeem Olajuwon if Hakeem had a 3-point jump shot. So I really want to see that out of him more than anything.
Okay. So like I still want to know what team success wise, where do the 76ers, in your opinion, need to finish in the East for him to be a legitimate contender for the MVP here?
Top 3.
Top 3. And then Joel, what are we looking at? 28 points, 13 rebounds, a block and a half. Is that what we're kind of thinking? Or are you thinking a little less?
Right now, that's where he is right now. So I feel like, maintaining that pace or maybe even like bumping it up a little bit more, like bumping up those block numbers a little bit more, then I think those will really like just like stat patty friendly ways of like getting some extra votes out there by the media.
Kays, look, you're the guy on the podcast that I would defer to when it comes to the big men of the NBA and the centers because you understand the position quite well. What are your thoughts? You think Joel Embiid, if healthy, top 3 MVP? How do you feel about this take here?
He'd have to elevate his game a little bit on the defensive end. I like him offensively, but he doesn't have the gas tank. You see him gassing out at the end of games, forcing up threes that aren't anywhere close. And he needs to be more consistent through 48 minutes.
That's fair. And look, I think that when the question is the physical stamina and not the actual quality of the player, that's something that can be fixed. Joel Embiid, why not?
Oh, no, I agree.
Yeah,
it's just something we haven't seen in his 6 years in the NBA.
That's fair. Kays, you want to start us off with an overreaction? What have you learned in week 1 that you would love to overreact to?
The Clippers suck.
Hold on. They're 3-1 and lead the Western Conference right now. That's not very fair.
They lost by 51. Their total plus minus is a negative 26.
It's because they were missing Kawhi.
They lost one game. And they're at a minus 26.
They lost the game by a franchise record. I can't.
No, an NBA record.
I can't believe you have made me have to defend the Clippers on the podcast today. I'm so disappointed.
That's honestly why I've said this.
I hate that you made me do this.
He was very defensive about this take, by the way. He did not want anyone touching this one.
Nothing would make me happier than for you to slander the Clippers and for you to be right. But I don't think.
Look, so hear me out. Yes, they're 3-1, but they missed Kawhi Leonard for 2 games, right?
Sure.
That one game they played the Mavericks. If the Mavericks didn't score in the second half, they still would have won by 4.
Okay.
And then they went up to beat. Hold on, I'm fucking talking. Then they beat Minnesota without Karl Anthony Towns. Okay, not hard to do. All I'm saying is, if Kawhi gets hurt at any point, or he doesn't like the way this shit is going and says, "I'm not playing for you guys anymore," like he did with the Spurs, this team is absolutely fucked.
You mean?
And just to recap, Luka Doncic accounted for 44 points in that game total, assists, passes, or pass to assist and points. The Clippers starters only had 41 points.
Jesus.
Case, keep it going, bro. Keep it going.
Yeah, please.
You're telling me 8 years, $128 million between Marcus Morris and Luke Kennard isn't going to save the Clippers?
No, the fake twin and the fake Alex Caruso aren't helping anybody.
Bro, those are top 5 guys in the NBA. What are you talking about,
Caruso.
bro? Jesus.
Oh my god, that's so.
I can't in good conscience buy this overreaction, but after a 51-point loss, Twitter had no interest in hearing it. You know, the one thing I will say on Twitter that I noticed, on NBA Twitter that I noticed a lot was they were like, oh, Paul George is carrying this team. He was 4 for 12 at halftime. He had 13 points. Carrying what?
Okay, look,
Yeah.
so 13 out of 21.
He was 4 for 12 at halftime. He had a better second half. Good for you, buddy.
But yeah, it was 13
carrying
out of
what?
21 points. Come on.
Yeah, I'm like, carrying what though? Like, who cares? You're carrying garbage.
Luka's nutsack. Sorry.
I think it was actually 13 out of 27.
13 out of 27. Is that what he finished at?
Or
Oh,
like,
gotcha.
yeah, 13 out of 27 points for the half.
That's fair. Okay, so I'm going to jump to my first overreaction. The Warriors will have a top 3 pick in this year's NBA draft, which will be their own. And they could potentially have, because they have the Minnesota pick, 2 top 5 picks in this year's NBA draft, but they are going to be a very, very bad basketball team this year. What I saw from the Warriors in game 1 and 2 was not exciting at all. Game 3, it took a Damian Lee buzzer beater against the Chicago Bulls, which look like one of the worst teams in the NBA right now, to win that game. And quite frankly, yes, Kelly Oubre and Wiggins are not going to be this bad week in and week out every single game. I get that, but they're also not world beaters in any which way, shape, or form. Kelly Oubre, I like him as a player on certain situations, but when Kelly Oubre does this every year, he'll have 1 or 2 really awesome highlight dunks every couple of games, and then we'll go like, oh, Kelly Oubre, but he'll still shoot like 0 for 15 from 3 in his first 2 games of the NBA season. And it's like, cool, he had this awesome putback dunk over Kevin Durant when they were down by 30. What are we talking about here, right? It's a joke Hayes alluded to a few weeks ago on the podcast where he said, I anticipate hearing Steph Curry for 3. Oh my God, they've cut the lead to 27. Or, so like it's a similar joke that Hayes made a few weeks ago. And at the time, personally, I wasn't willing to buy it. Now, the question becomes, Draymond Green is obviously a very important piece to this basketball team that is not currently on the court due to a foot injury. I don't think Draymond Green is going to average 18, 20, 22 points per game for this basketball team. He will play better defense. He will help move the ball around. But at this point in time, look, last time we watched Draymond Green play basketball, he was close to being called washed. And I understand that was with a very bad basketball team. But how much of that Draymond that we remember, the elite Draymond, is still left? I'm not completely sure. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Warriors are good, because Steph is one of the weirdest superstars in the NBA in the sense that he has very few haters, and those that hate him can't really tell you why. He's so damn likable. And so I want to see Steph, like everybody else wants to see Steph. I want to see him happy, and I want to see good basketball. But right now, the Warriors have not shown me, at least thus far in the first week, anything that excites me. And I love that the Warriors are currently the probably gold medal holders of the House of Highlights Twitter account and an Instagram account, because Steph Curry had 105 threes in practice and Kelly Oubre dunked over Kevin Durant. But they're 2-2.
It was actually over Steph Curry.
They're 2-2, and one of those was a buzzer beater by Damian Lee, which unless Damian Lee is taking a legitimate step in his NBA career, I'm not completely sure we can rely on that week in and week out. That guy had big cojones to take that shot. Good for him. But this Warriors team does not seem like a team that has a whole lot coming. And unless Steph becomes the MVP he was in 2015, this team is not going to make the playoffs or anything even remotely close in an NBA this damn good. What do you guys think, Shaban? What are you thinking here?
Actually, I think that the Warriors team is not going to be a very good team. I don't think they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league, though. I think Steph can at least push them above a certain threshold. But they are not going to be a very good team. I do agree. I don't know if that's going to be potentially top 5 pick bad. It could be mid lottery.
Hear me out just for 1 second. Okay, ready? God forbid. We're not praying for this. We're not hoping for nothing. Steph Curry has to miss 20 games. How many of those 20 games is this team going to win without Stephen Curry playing?
Why the fuck would you say something like that?
5? No, I'm saying
God damn.
we're in a season.
You knock on wood right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, God forbid, I love Steph Curry. Everybody loves Steph Curry. Come on, let's be honest, right? But we have to talk about these things.
Mhm.
If God forbid Steph Curry misses 20 games, right? If he's whatever, for whatever reason, I'm not going to put it out there, but 20 games. How many games is this team going to win without him? Genuinely, Shaban, 5? 4?
Probably probably in those single digits.
Right? And so Steph Curry, I heard this interesting take. In case I want your thoughts on this take, so I'm going to just put it out there and then I'm going to let you take it. But I heard this interesting take. It was from, I think, Bill Simmons just a couple of days ago. And so I'm going to quickly say it. There's certain players in the NBA that are floor raisers, right? That's the kind of guy that James Harden is, for example. There are also guys who are ceiling hires, like they lift the ceiling of the team, but they don't necessarily raise the floor. That might be guys like Steph Curry and Trae Young, those point guards, those young, like smaller, not younger, but smaller guys who can't necessarily take a beating game in and game out, play in and play out. And so when they're on a good team, they make your good team a great team, but they can't necessarily make a bad team a good team. Case, what are your thoughts on that?
All right, I just want to say your whole overreaction is based on a hypothetical.
What's that? They went. They
Steph
are
Curry
2-2.
getting hurt.
No, I'm saying they are 0-2. Are they not? They took a
They're
buzzer beater
2-2.
from. Sorry, 2-2, and they took a Damian Lee buzzer beater to get to 2-2. Otherwise, they'd be 1-3 right now.
That's fine, but they're 2-2.
I don't think that's very fair of you to say. That's
Going back to your floor raiser and ceiling, what's it?
Ceiling raiser, I
Upper.
guess.
ceiling raiser. I don't know the right word for it.
Yeah, there are guys like that, but I don't think Steph Curry is just a ceiling raiser. I think he raises your floor as well if he's enjoying the game of basketball, which these past 8 or 9 days, I don't think he has been. So I think if they do find a groove and Steph starts enjoying the game again, they'll go on a tear.
Okay.
But yeah, I honestly can't argue with this because they have looked very bad. But I don't think they're gonna have a top 3 pick of their own this year.
All right, that's fair. That's why we call it an overreaction. Nabil, you got an overreaction for us?
Yeah, I'm gonna change up the one that I originally gave to you guys. I believe that the Phoenix Suns will be the best defensive team in basketball this season. This season, they've allowed the least amount of points. They average 98.5 points a game scored against them. Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul, Devin Booker's defense has looked way better than it has in the past. I believe this will be the best defensive team in basketball this season.
Yeah, I mean, I buy it. Phoenix has looked really good on the defensive end this season. They're probably a top 5 defense as of right now. And I think you made that note about Mikal Bridges and how like he's taken a big step defensively on the wing. So yeah, I mean, I buy it. I don't know if I would consider it an overreaction, but but I definitely believe that Phoenix is going to be one of those defensive teams to watch out for. And you're gonna if you don't come out with the killer mentality, then you're going to be in a grinded out match. And against CP3, you don't want that.
I read when I was looking into this, I read an insane stat about Mikal Bridges. In that Dallas game, the first game of the season, Luka shot 6 shots in that game. Mikal Bridges was on for five of them. Luka went 0 for 6 from the 3-point line in the game. He's not an amazing 3-point shooter, but he's better than 0 for 6. He was glued to Luka the whole night, did not let him go. DeAndre Ayton was clogging up the paint, and it was Phoenix's defense to me is very impressive, and they could probably continue it because it doesn't look like they're doing anything special. They're just playing fundamental basketball, and it's working out really well in their favor.
I'm gonna say I understand where this reaction is coming from. I'm gonna sell it personally. I don't think they're gonna be the best.
Hard sell.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I don't think they're gonna be the best. They might be a top 5 or 6 team. The reason why I say that is because they play the Dallas Mavericks in game 1. Many of us could say the Mavericks only scored 102 points in that game. They've averaged 113 otherwise. They are just not a team that's going to score 102 game in and game out. And that goes to a poor shooting performance from some of their best players. Now, that could be credited to defense. but it was also the first game of the season in a season in which we all agree it will take a little bit for all the basketball teams to kind of get their feet right. Then they play the Kings, and let's not get crazy about the Kings here. Then they play the Pelicans, who only put up 86 points. So
They played the Kings twice, by the way.
yeah,
Yeah, they
and
did
then
play the Kings
they,
twice.
they put up 106 and 100 points. And so that's the 4 games they played this far. 3 of those games are by teams that I do not personally believe are playoff caliber teams, which means I would say it's a slightly easier schedule than like the Miami Heat, for example, or the Milwaukee Bucks, right? Or the Philadelphia 76ers or something like that. And so for that reason, I'll sell it, not because I don't think they're going to be a good defensive team. They could still be 5 or 6 or 7, whatever. But the number one, I think that's probably another team there.
Yeah, I'm gonna sell it simply because of what Safe said, but the real test is gonna be these next 3 or 4 games. They've got the Jazz, the Nuggets, and the Clippers coming up.
Yep.
See, that'll be fun.
That is their gauntlet for the season. I believe it's their toughest stretch of the season as well.
That'll be fun. We'll see a lot there. All right, Shaban, give me your second overreaction, bro.
My second overreaction has to do with.
This one is a real overreaction. It's like, this is real, man.
This is a real one, and it has to do with our hometown Hawks, baby. And I say that they are going to be a 5 seed at least this season.
At least.
At least.
All right. Well, they just lost, so.
They lost 145-141 to the Brooklyn Nets.
No defense on teams tonight, boys. Yeah. 0 defense. My God. Tell us why. Tell us why the Hawks are going to be a top 5 seed, at least, according to you, my friend. What have you seen from the Hawks so far that you're like, yo, top 5?
I see Trae Young and how he's putting up like 30 plus points a night. How he's dishing the ball very effectively. I'm also saying how John Collins is getting used to his new role as sort of like a floor spacing forward instead of like more of a rim runner. I'm seeing how Clint Capella and him are meshing well together. I'm seeing how the Hawks have 8 players who are averaging double digits in scoring this season. I had some concerns about Bogdan Bogdanovic, but he's looked like he's fitting in really well. DeAndre Hunter looks like a completely new man, minus this game. But point remains that this Hawks team, their offense has been flying versus like last season where they were probably one of the worst offensive and defensive teams in the league. Really, the only source of offense was Trae last season. But now we have like a multitude of guys who can score. And also like we're not great at defense, but we're not terrible either. We're mediocre. That's something, right?
I would like to point out that on the night of us recording, the Nets put up 145 points against the Atlanta Hawks.
Yes.
We cannot and will not speak of defense on the Atlanta Hawks. They are going to be in shootouts every single night. And that's where we're going to sit. Shaban, I have a question for you. You talked about Trae Young, and I think all of us on this podcast like Trae Young. We're big Hawks fans ourselves. And look, nothing would make me happier than to see the Hawks be a top 5 seed in the Eastern Conference of the NBA. But can Trae Young is averaging an absurd amount of free throws. He's had attempts 14, 17, 15, and 16 attempts in the 4 games the Hawks have played so far. Do you genuinely believe he can continue to take a beating like supposedly he is for 70 games of the season?
By the way, that average comes out to 15.3 attempts a game.
Trae Young weighs 180 pounds. That's basically all of us on this podcast, So that's seriously concerning. He's 6'1" and 180 pounds. That also means all of us need to get in the gym. It's a pandemic. Leave me alone. But he's a small guard and he's getting basically beat up night in and night out. Can he play 70 games?
I don't know if he can play 70 games. I think he might actually.
I don't think he'll play 70. 10, I think he'll play 72.
Kays is clearly on one today, listener. Not interested.
So
not at
I
all.
believe I can fly.
I actually agree with Shaban. Before when we discussed
Hell
on the
yeah.
Eastern Conference preview that I believe that this Hawks team was going to be the 5 or 6 seed in the East. Nothing. Well, hold on. I'm not going to say nothing that they're doing is surprising.
Hold
Isn't
up, you
surprising.
weren't here for that episode. Rahil was.
No, I wasn't here for the Western Conference episode, bro. I was here for the Eastern Conference one.
Nah, we talked about the Nets with Rahil.
And
more
me.
importantly, Nabil, get to your point.
Yeah, I'm not shocked by the fact that they're doing well. I am shocked at how well they're doing. Trae Young's averaging 34 points a freaking game this season. Granted, it's only through 3 or
Thank
4
God
games.
for my fantasy team.
Well, I say if you brought up a valid question, do I think he's going to be able to take the beating? Probably not. Again, there's a point where your body either takes a toll injury-wise, which I hope he never gets injured, but it either takes it that way or fatigue comes in and he just won't be able to take those hits and his game's going to slow down because of it. They've got to find other ways to get other guys involved. Tonight, John Collins dropped 30 points on the Nets, so that's actually a really good sign that shows that other guys are stepping up for the Hawks, even when Trae Young is having a great night. So I believe this team can continue. I don't think it's an overreaction. I do believe they can finish either 5 or 6 in the East and be a really good basketball team.
I'm gonna sell it because it's really hard for me to say that the Hawks are definitely a better basketball team than the Brooklyn Nets, Boston Celtics, Philadelphia 76ers, Miami Heat, and that's like a top 4 lock, right? And then we can go to some of the other teams like the Pacers or the Bucks. The Bucks, sorry, that's 5 teams right there that are locked in. The Raptors, the Wizards. It's really hard. I'm excited. Also, fuck you, Fox Sports Southeast, for all of us having to commit.
Yeah, screwing us over.
Yeah, we can't
Fuck
freaking watch the Hawks games without committing goddamn felonies over here, because nobody has Fox Sports Southeast as a provider. So that's awesome, and I'm sure Hawks fans are super excited about that. And by the way, you guys see the tweets about Fox Sports Southeast tweeting about how they're breaking viewer record numbers this season so far.
You don't have viewers.
Bro, they watch their own shows over and over again.
There's only one service that provides Fox Sports Southeast.
Who is it?
It's Direct TV.
And Comcast, right? Comcast has them.
Yeah.
So my point is, Hawks fans or Fox Sports Southeast, actually, you would destroy your records if you were available on Dish Network, Hulu, YouTube, so on and so forth. But you're not, so you suck. But yeah, I'm gonna say only because I can't see the Hawks being better than the 5 teams of the 76ers, Celtics, Nets, Heat, and Bucks. Those are 5 teams I think that are definitely locks for the top 5 seeds in the Eastern Conference, which is why I sell it. Not because they're a good basketball team. They're clearly a good basketball team. They're showing it every day. They need to play some defense, so that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Case, what do you think? Buy or sell?
You gotta sell it. There's too many good teams in the East.
That's fair. Case, you want to tell us your next overreaction from week 1 of the NBA?
Dennis Schroeder should not start for the Lakers.
Wow.
I didn't like this one at all. I really did not like this one.
Ooh, sway.
Wow. Okay, I mean, like, I agree with you. I'm going to buy it before you even make your case, but make your case.
All right, so look, with LeBron on the floor, there's already a ball handler, a primary ball handler, facilitator, scorer, whatever the fuck you need. Along with Gasol starting, which means you have 2 amazing facilitators on the court, and then you've got a great slasher in KCP. So I feel like if you throw in a Wes Matthews in the starting lineup just for fucks and giggles, then you have
Just for fuck's sake.
he hasn't been great.
Bro.
Look,
Just
hear
for
me out
fucks.
though. Hear me out.
Matthews has been
Just
bad.
imagine this second unit coming off the bench and letting LeBron and AD sit. You get Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Kuzma, and Trez. All 3 of them come off the bench, destroy that second team for the other team. Let LeBron and AD chill. They'll come back in the second quarter, play, about 30 minutes a game till the playoffs, and we coast. That's my case.
Yeah.
Dave,
I
I'm
do
gonna let you
love
go
Schroeder.
first
He's
since
been
you're
fantastic.
since you're the Laker fan, bro.
Look, I'm going to buy it because I like Dennis Schroeder a lot, and I think that he's a slightly, I would say, above average starting point guard in the NBA, but he is easily one of the best, if not the best, backup point guard in the NBA. And he will destroy and has destroyed second units for many years now, even in OKC, right when he was coming off the bench over there. I sell Wes Matthews starting. That man is
That was just a suggestion.
Yeah. We got to do better than that. So we'll start somebody else. So Wes Matthews,
throw Caruso in there.
not yet on that one. Caruso probably not either. But yes, I buy it. I buy that the Lakers should not start Dennis Schroeder. I'm not sure how they'll tell Dennis that that's the move, especially now they're talking extension. That's the reports we're hearing out of LA, right? There's a possible extension in the works. He's been really good for the Lakers offensively and even defensively. The aggression he has brought is a nice adjustment, and it makes the lives of LeBron James and Anthony Davis significantly easier.
How did you forget Anthony Davis?
No. I just got breaking news from Shums saying that Becky Hammond is serving as the acting head coach now that Greg Popovich just got thrown out of the Spurs-Laker game, which is why I forgot Anthony Davis for a second there. Congrats, Becky Hammond. That's dope.
Lit.
But not surprised Greg Popovich got tossed. He does that from time to time to ignite the team. I think it's a very chess piece type of move. But anyway, I buy it because I agree with your sentiment. I sell the Wesley Matthews part of this one, which I understand is just a suggestion. Shaban, buy or sell this thing?
I'm gonna sell, because I think Dennis Schroeder has done a great job, like on
We're not saying
lineup.
he hasn't.
And to that point, like, yeah, he would do a great job, like coming off the bench. That Montrezl Harrell and Dennis Schroeder connection already has looked like it's
Beautiful.
in mid-season 4. It's
Compliments
beautiful.
to the chef. Compliments to the chef. It's beautiful.
Thank you, Rob.
And that being said, this might be an overreaction in and of itself, but I think that as it is, LeBron's probably going to be playing his career low in minutes this
Playing his
season.
career low in minutes. Yep.
Hope so.
Last season, he played his career low in minutes, and this season, he's probably going to be playing even less minutes. He might even be taking off a few games. I mean, LeBron is very competitive. He's going to be playing whatever
He's
games
not
he
taking
can.
off a few games.
But LeBron can actually, sort of like LeBron's style of load management is that he load manages on the floor, and he really picks his spots now more than ever. And somebody's gonna have to pick up the slack when LeBron is kind of getting up and down the floor. And Dennis Schroeder is that guy because shot creating playmakers are hot commodity in the league, and Dennis Schroeder is that guy that the Lakers have really needed, especially since last season. That's why they really wanted Darren Collison middle of last season. So, Dennis Schroeder is. I agree he would do a great job on the bench, but he's too important to be left off the starting lineup.
I agree with Shaban here. Shaban touched on it. Case, you brought up that it gives LeBron rest, it's a valid point, right? But this season, LeBron is averaging 30.5 minutes per game this season. Last season, he was at 34.6.
Yeah, I want to see that 30 come down to 26.
I don't think that's happening.
I don't think that's even close. I think 30 is enough.
Yeah, he's sitting at 18 minutes of rest a game. I think Dennis Schroeder just does so much for this offense. Defensively, he's been aggressive. Safe and I've had long conversations with Dennis Schroeder at the start of this season, just simply because he's just been so electric. Defensively, offensively, he gets the guys going. His penetration to the rim is absolutely amazing to watch sometimes. I don't agree that you guys shouldn't be starting Dennis Schroeder. I almost said Dennis Smith. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents on it. AD's minutes obviously haven't been affected yet. He's sitting at 33 minutes this season. Last season he was sitting at 34.4, but I wasn't expecting Dennis Schroeder's minutes to be changing Anthony Davis's minutes all that much.
Yeah. Okay. My next overreaction, and I don't feel good saying this out loud because currently the Mavericks are down by 20 points to the Charlotte Hornets in the middle of the third quarter. As I say this out loud. However, I will still say it because I still back it. I think that the Dallas Mavericks will be in the Western Conference Finals against the Los Angeles Lakers.
I love how as soon as you said that, they both went to their phones.
Yeah.
Because I had to stop paying attention to the podcast.
So
I have the game open. So.
I believe that the Dallas Mavericks will be in the Western Conference Finals against the Los Angeles Lakers this season, barring Kristaps Porzingis' health, which is the one big caveat here. They need him. Clearly, they need him badly. But the Dallas Mavericks, look, I love everything they did the offseason. The addition of Josh Richardson to play next to Luka and Tim Hardaway has been really, really fun. You've now have 3 guys on the team on any given night. 2 out of 3 can get you 25 points in a game, any given night. And that's before KP gets there. When KP gets there, you got 4 dudes, 2 of which can go off at any given night for 25, 26, whatever points. Luka's good for 30 basically every night. If he doesn't give you 30, you're almost disappointed in that, unless he's got like 18 assists to go with it, which is more than possible any given night.
Wait, just real quickly.
Yes.
Guess who's leading that Mavs game in scoring right now?
Don't worry about it.
Boban Marjanovic. No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke.
LaMelo Ball.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, the game. I thought you meant the Dallas Mavericks. My apologies. Yeah, LaMelo's got like 15.
Timmy Hardaway leads the Mavericks.
Here is my one suggestion for the Dallas Mavericks to help shore up their basketball team. Kristaps is a player who clearly has a lot of health issues going on, and year in and year out cannot necessarily be relied on for a bunch of games. And by the way, that's possibly okay, because, well, he's 7 feet tall and has, skinny ass legs, unfortunately. Now, you need Kristaps insurance, Dallas Mavericks. So I've actually
exactly what you're gonna say.
No,
Oh
you
my
don't.
God.
You actually don't know what I'm going to say. The Dallas Mavericks need to get someone who can run some 4 and 5 for them and be more effective than the current 4 and 5s that they have, which are guys
Dwight
like,
Powell sucks.
yeah, they got Dwight Powell, they got Maxi Kleber, they got James Johnson, they got Boban, who's obviously beloved, and that's the guys that are running 4 and 5 for the Dallas Mavericks.
Bill has been waiting to
Dodo
say that
Dodo
Dwight
from
Powell
time to time,
sucks.
and Dorian Finney-Smith from time to time will run the small ball 4, which is fine. I actually like that. The Dallas Mavericks, for a very small price, I believe, can turn James Johnson and Maxi Kleber and potentially a first-round pick, lottery protected. They don't even need a protected. Let's be honest. They're not going to be a fucking lottery team, right? They could trade James Johnson, Maxi Kleber, and the first-round pick and grab the 1-year expiring deal of LaMarcus Aldridge off the Spurs for almost nothing.
Thank God you didn't say Andre Drummond. I'm okay
No,
with that trade.
I was going to say Lauri Markkanen.
I would know because
I thought you were going to say Andre Drummond too.
Well, no, I wouldn't say Lauri Markkanen for 2 reasons. One, you probably gonna have to pay him this summer, and I don't think the Mavericks are ready to pay a guy who we honestly don't know that much about, right? Because Lauri Markkanen, another injury-prone guy. That's number 2.
That's why I said I thought it was going to be funny.
No, he's just as injury-prone as Kristaps Porzingis. LaMarcus Aldridge is a reliable player who can be your Kristaps insurance. He can be awesome for you as a starter when Kristaps can't play. And he has a game, Kristaps has a game that can help spread the floor. And then Aldridge can just play when Kristaps isn't available or when he is available. Doesn't matter. They can play together. Their games complement each other. And so for that reason, I don't think the Spurs are tied to LaMarcus. It seems like they could probably trade him tomorrow if they get the right package, a first-round pick. And, a young guy like maybe Josh Green that the Mavs drafted this year could probably be enough to entice him. And then James Johnson and Kleber just to make the money work is all we're talking about here. But the Mavericks can go to the Western Conference Finals this year. I don't think that they're going to be good enough to beat the Lakers, but that's just because I'm a Laker fan. Let's just be honest. They're the best team in basketball right now.
Fact.
Yeah, you can't.
The Lakers are the best team in basketball right now. And when they turn it on, we see it. We can see how incredible this team is. That's with LeBron at 50% and AD at 65% right now. So they need to shore up that Kristaps position so that they have insurance. And LaMarcus seems like the cheapest gettable, really good basketball player who can actually play for them and is definitely better than James Johnson, Maxi Kleber,
Dwight Powell.
Dwight Powell, Willie Cauley-Stein, and the group of guys they got over there right now that are playing that position. So that's why I think they should go grab LaMarcus and go to the Western Conference Finals. That's my overreaction, I guess, is that I think they can go to the Western Conference Finals. As if they
Also, James, if you hear this, this is purely basketball talk.
Oh yeah, no,
No
James
heart-
Johnson.
Yeah, I love you, James Johnson. You've been great.
Yeah,
But
the only reason why he has to be in the trade, I would love for him to stay there because he brings that don't fuck with Lucas shit. But he makes $16 million and on an expiring contract. It's just really tradable. That's all.
Mhm.
yeah, I think I agree with Safe on this one. I believe that the Mavs do need help down low, and Kristaps isn't. His knees just aren't dependable. I hate saying that because it sounds like a joke, but I'm being serious. It's just you cannot depend on him to play through the season and the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, the Mavs' struggles are very apparent. They're down low. Teams penetrate the Mavs down low, and they end up opening up shots out in the perimeter for that reason, because everyone collapses down low to help Dwight Powell, Maxi Kleba, guys that just can't defend. LaMarcus Aldridge would definitely fix that, and I do believe that if they do make that trade, we would be Western Conference Finals bound. Obviously, like Safe said earlier, we would not beat the Lakers, but I think it'd be an interesting series
It would definitely be
in
fun.
5 games.
Shaman,
and
you're a Mavs fan?
yeah, no, Nabil and I have actually had like conversations about this on the side about like what can the Mavericks do, and one of the things that we were talking about, like that we kept coming back to was that like 4 and 5 position, but also like the effort on the glass.
Yes.
Like Kristaps is our best rebounder by far, followed by Luka and Dorian Finney-Smith. But like you said, we do need to shore up that 4 and 5 position, because for a 7-footer and like probably the biggest guy on the floor, Dwight Powell was really bad at rebounding.
Well, Kleba
Like,
and Dwight Powell both really are bad at rebounding. They
Okay,
don't know
wait.
how to bounce out.
In all fairness, LaMarcus Aldridge is not going to fix your rebounding problem. He is not, or even a good. He's averaging 4 rebounds per game this year, and so he's not some god level rebounder by any.
And that's like the one caveat I have with like with the whole LaMarcus Aldridge trade, because it doesn't solve that. And that
Look, it
flaw
really
itself
sounds
got
like y'all want
exposed.
Andre Drummond.
That's why I did not harp on the rebounding too much, bro.
I'll take like an Andre Drummond for like maybe like 30% of the money.
The thing is, I actually don't think the Mavericks can put together a realistic trade offer that
For Drummond.
The Cavs would take for Drummond right now. I think they really value him because he's actually pretty damn good for the Cavs. That's not saying a whole lot, but he's been really good, and I don't think that the Mavericks could put together a package to make that deal happen. I don't. Have you guys?
Thinking.
You guys said you've discussed it, so have you discussed maybe in specifics at all?
Well, I mean, this
specifics
is just
of a Drummond trade.
Yeah.
Shaban, you got this one.
Not a Drummond trade, but I was like thinking just off the top of my head, like someone like a Mitchell Robinson, like someone very, very tall, very long arms.
You think the Knicks would trade him?
I mean, the Knicks got.
I don't.
I mean, it does feel like he's gettable. I mean, like the Knicks don't seem like they're going anywhere, and they could definitely use some help. They could definitely use some extra draft picks. So it definitely wouldn't be like if I were the Knicks, I wouldn't ignore a possible trade with the Mavericks especially if it included a few draft picks.
The last time they didn't ignore a trade for the
make
Mavs.
an in-game trade.
They already own your draft picks, motherfucker.
Oh shit, you're right.
So facts.
They don't need your shit. They already own it.
No, I'm not too. I think when KP comes back, a lot of those rebounding problems that we're having with Luka there as well. I mean, Shaban, you pointed it out. Luka, DFS, and KP, that should be solved for the most part. It's the defense. The defense absolutely. Even in this, I was watching the Hornets game, and there's a point where Powell literally gets spun around by LaMelo Ball just by standing. He's literally doing this.
Breaking news.
What's up?
Wesley Matthews is 4 of 4 from 3. He heard me.
It's not breaking news, bro. That is just good game, bro.
Okay, so before we continue, I want to point out the deal that I proposed for LaMarcus Aldridge was James Johnson and Maxi Kleba. Probably need to throw in a young asset like maybe a Josh Green kind of player. I don't think the Dallas Mavericks have a first-round pick for like a couple of years because of the Stepien rule. So they have to probably throw in like a 2026 first-round pick, which again shouldn't really matter because you'll still have Luka, you'll still have KP. But they could potentially put that exact same package together. And I just tried on Trade Machine, and you can get Drummond for that exact same, like money-wise package. Like I said, I don't think the Cavs will take it.
Yeah.
The Cavs rate Drummond higher, but LaMarcus is definitely gettable, I think. I think
we'd have to throw in Tyrell Terry instead of.
They don't need any more point guards.
I like Tyrell Terry.
I love Tyrell Terry, but he's a better asset, though. He's just a better asset.
I think that, like I said, the overreaction was the Mavericks are Western Conference Finals bound if they can shore up and get some Kristaps insurance. Seems like Nabil and Shaban buy it. Case, do you want to give me your thoughts on this? Because you're not the Mavericks fan on this podcast.
He's got a sombrero on his mic, bro. He's happy.
It's a beanie.
What do you think, Case?
I will sell this.
Oh, no.
Of course you will.
Why?
It's the lingering knee issues for Kristaps. Everyone says, "Oh, he's going to be healthy." Then he comes back, he plays great for 2 weeks, and then he's fucked again.
Well, so that's why I added the caveat that they need Kristaps insurance. So let's say they do get Kristaps insurance. Let's say they
I don't deal in what ifs.
No. That's quite literally what we do when we overreact on the podcast. So you're gonna have to. So if they get a LaMarcus Aldridge or an Andre Drummond, for example, do you still sell it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I do.
Now tell me why.
I think the Mavs are a great team. They're a great offense, but they have shown that they don't know how to hold a lead. Like they struggle late in games, not scoring points, but they can't string together stops. And what ends up happening is Luka has the same issue I see in Joel Embiid, where he is gassed at the end of games.
Too busy.
And I think with the NBA as loaded as it is this year, with all these fantastic teams, yeah, the Mavs will likely be a top 5 Western Conference team. I think I have them at number 3 right now.
Mhm.
But the competition in the playoffs is just so intense. I don't see them making it to the finals. They have a good chance. I just think there's chances of an upset as well.
Okay. All right. Nabil, do you have another overreaction?
This one's a small overreaction, but after watching this is actually courtesy of Case, by the way. I didn't really think of this one. The Indiana Pacers not only will make the playoffs this year, but they will also win a playoff series because they look like they're that solid of a basketball game. Basketball team. The reason why I say this, over their last 4 games. Okay, come on. The Indiana Pacers beat the New York Knicks 121 to 107. 125 to 106 against the Chicago Bulls. They lost to the Celtics, or they beat the Celtics by 1 point, and they lost to the Celtics 116 to 111. In that game, they were actually up, and the Celtics had to come back and win that game. I believe this is actually a very solid basketball team with Sabonis and everyone else that's on there. Oladipo is starting to look really good as well. I think this is a solid basketball team, and I genuinely do believe they could make a run in the Eastern Conference.
I'm gonna sell this one, not because I don't think they're a good basketball team. I agree they're a good basketball team, but when you tried to build a case for this team, you told me they beat the Knicks and the Bulls, which are 2 of the worst teams in the league, and we know this. And sir,
but I followed it up with 2 Celtic games.
And sir, I will tell you now, if you are trying to sell someone on being a good basketball team, you don't tell me they beat bad basketball teams. That's not impressive. They beat the Celtics by 1. Okay.
And then they lost by 5, but they were up in the game.
Aha. So I don't care. They will definitely make the playoffs, in my opinion. I think they're definitely a good basketball.
I agree.
They will not beat a top 5 or 6 team. And if they're a 6, 7, 8, they're going to have to play a top 5 or 6 team in the East. So no, I sell it. Case?
Yeah, it's just hard sell.
Yeah, it's a
bastard.
And Shaban?
That was actually a landmine I threw in the dock.
Nah, I
wanted to see if someone could take it.
Because I didn't want to take the other one you put on there, so I was like, I'm just going to take this one. It's fine.
All right. Lastly, before we go, this is the end of the overreactions. I just wanted to put this out there, and I wanted your quick thoughts on it. After what we've seen, and this is something we know, it's just a constant reminder. I don't think James Harden is getting traded this season, guys.
I don't think so either.
doesn't look like it.
Especially after the unfortunate Dinwiddie incident, which prayers out to Dinwiddie. Obviously, we hope for the best recovery possible. But after that, I don't think James Harden's going anywhere. I think he's in Houston for at least another, the basketball season this year.
And it also seems like he's trying to at least make some sort of teamwork mentality in the Houston locker room. Some of the reports coming out of there after the incident of throwing the basketball. After that, it seems like he's really trying to get the team to be a cohesive unit.
After he apparently tried to give his whole team COVID, he finally decided not to give his whole team COVID. Thank you, James Harden.
Well, hold on.
Wow, what a legend, what an icon.
Let's not go that far. We don't know if he's decided this.
It's just that, look, James Harden went from let me get traded to 2 teams to 6 teams. By like mid-February, he's going to be like, yo, just trade me to any all 29 teams are on the table. Trade me wherever you want. But like, I just don't see currently the packages that are rumored out there as something like Siakam or Jaylen Brown. I don't see either one of those teams trading those 2 guys. I don't see the Nets doing it because they don't have Dinwiddie anymore. I I don't think he's going anywhere. I just don't anymore.
Can I be honest with you? I think the key indicator for me thinking he wasn't going anywhere was when we got that report that Miami had pulled out of the James Harden sweepstakes. I think once that came out, I thought it was a wrap. I thought it was no one else was going to trade for him.
That's probably fair. Case, do you think he'll be in Houston to end the year?
Yeah, like I said at the beginning of the year, he fucked himself. Now he's stuck there.
Well, listener, thanks again for listening. This has been another episode of The Waterboy and Equipment Manager Podcast. We'll see you next week where we'll probably overreact to 2 weeks of basketball. I'm just kidding. We'll come up with something else. In the meantime, thanks for listening. See you next week. See ya.
Peace.
Bye.
Bryant for the win. Bang! Kutzke for three.